Hey there guys. In this video we are going to do something different, a weekly thing, and it is called Tavern Brawl Thursdays. So I know it's not really Thursday there, but this is when this video was made. And now what we will do is every week we will cover the current Tavern Brawl. This week it's a old Tavern Brawl, and we are running a Warlock deck. You have to have 10 unique cards, and instead of drawing a card, you actually discover one of 3 cards in your deck. So this deck is meant to counter the meta of Quest Mage. A lot of people play Quest Mage in this type of format, and here we run cards like Gnome Feratu and Death Lord to counter that. So Gnome Feratu removes a card from your opponent's deck. Death Lord takes a minion from the deck, puts him on the battlefield. So what that means is you're pretty much mulliganing milling your opponent ever so slowly. We support this with a discard package that has Lakari, the Quest, Malekith's Imp, Silverware Golem, Lakari Felguard, and Doomguard. Right? So basically that's our second win condition. We also run Reno as well as Patches and Bran for extra utility, and this deck is actually really cool. And in these few gameplay videos that we're just going to rush through really quickly, I will show you how those things work. So here we are versus a Druid, and Druid is likely playing some kind of Jade Idol deck. So in this situation, what I want to do is mulligan very aggressively for Patches or Gnome Feratu. Patches is an important card to have because what it does is thin your deck by 1 card. So instead of having 10 cards in your deck all the time, you have 9. And that's pretty important in the grand scheme of things, because you can imagine that when you have 10 cards, you have a 3 in 10 chance of getting the cards you want, which is 30%. But when you drop it down to 9, your percentage goes up to 33%, which is large, which is a huge increase over the span of a couple turns, right? Here we play the Imp out. Our basic idea is we want to stick an imp or a couple of imps. I think in this case we took the we did take the imp and we hero powered. And the reason being here, because he won't be able to deal with both imps on this turn 3. And that means when we discard when we play the Lakari Felguard, we're going to actually draw 4 cards off of it, right? And that's what happens here. We draw 4 cards. Remember, when you draw a card here, you actually get a 1 mana card called Peruse. And the Peruse discovers a card in your deck, which is pretty cool. But as you can see here, my opponent has got to play a bunch of idols, so he's really generating a strong number of Jades. So at this point, we're kind of searching for Gnome Feratu. We want to cast Gnome Feratu as many times as we can. And if we don't get it in our draws, then we want to get either Silverware Golem that we can activate with our Doomguard or Lakari Felguards, or Malekith's Imp, which we can use to fill our deck with more cards. Obviously, the princes don't work in this brawl, simply because you will always have a copy of the prince in your deck, meaning you cannot activate it. So don't get stuck into that trap of playing the princes. So you can see right here, I'm drowning my opponent in card advantage, which is a very good thing in this brawl. I'm going to go ahead and take the quest here, and whenever I get a Gnome Feratu at this point, I've got to play it because I want him to burn for important cards. So there I got rid of his Jade Blossom, meaning that I got rid of one of his biggest Jade activators. His other activator being that card right there, Jade Idol. So here we go. We'll probably take the Death Lord since we already have a Doomguard. Oh, we took the Lakari Felguard. It's all good. We'll take the Imp because we want more cards to draw. Play the Doomguard because he has haste. And now we are going to draw 4 cards off there. And we've refueled our hand. And this is great because Peruse is an awesome card for our particular deck, because that is 4 chances for us to try to get another Gnome Feratu, right? Which is just the king, it's just so strong of a card in this matchup and many matchups in general, right? So here we'll take like there. So now we can grab a Gnome Feratu. There's another Gnome Feratu. So that right off the bat is 4 cards that we are going to outdraw him with. All right. And here we're going to trade some stuff out. And we play a little safe, and then we get Reno Jackson, which gives us a late game heal. So Reno Jackson for us is the card that kind of gives us that sustain late in the game when our opponent's trying to push lethal, right? So sure, now he's got a Ysera, and that's a threat, and I don't want the Death Lord to die and give him more Yseras. So, you know, we gotta do our best to make sure he doesn't get another Ysera, right? So I'm gonna keep the Death Lord alive for a turn. Let's see what he picks up. Earthen Scales, cool. Questing Adventurer, we lucked out. Our opponent's, you know, he's got a few cards left in the deck. We've forced him to get rid of quite a bit. So we're going to continue to grab Death Lord, Gnome Feratu, because that effect is too strong. So there we go. Now, got rid of his Gnome Feratu, or his Ysera, got rid of Jade Idol. So that has stopped him from being superly aggressive. And now he's got 1 card left in the deck. And he's pretty much dead. Like, he has to stick this Ysera and has to stay on board. He played the Valinor, so now we know Valinor is the only card he has left in the deck. Now, all we have to do is stabilize, right? So I'll take the Reno Jackson, because that's going to give me the range to stabilize. We'll use the life tap again. We'll grab the Gnome Feratu. All right, let's check our life. We're pretty low, so obviously we're going to kill Ysera because we don't want him to have any draw engine of or any card value of it, any sort. And we go with the full heal, and he has to trade on board here, because if not, he's going to die, and that's what's going to happen. So here in this situation, we've kind of just, you know, forced him out of resources and are going to win easily enough. So now we can play Death Lord, not worry about anything. Now he has no more cards left in the deck. He cannot draw anything, and he's going to die. These are simply no other cards in the deck. So you can see he's gotten me pretty low, but my solution's simple. I just need to find a Reno or a Taunt, right? So I didn't find it there, but I will find it soon. So we will keep the board clear. He has no cards, so he's just got to hope that he can kill us in 3 turns. And we finally draw into a Lakari Fellhound, which is basically the same as Reno Jackson for all intents and purposes, and we win. And that was pretty cool. Pretty fun way to win. Here we go to the next game versus a Warlock. So it's going to be a very similar to the Mirror. Gnome Feratu is just so strong of a card. So this matchup, we want to get the quest items out, because the quest is going to be important for longevity in the matchup, especially if you're supposed to mill away all of our other cards. And Patches and Gnome Feratu, of course, are great cards we want to see. We see Gnome Feratu, we play it. We kill a Cabal Courier, so we know he's on some kind of value play. Now we lose Imp, so we know that we lose our draw mechanic, and we're just going to continue to play Gnome Feratu's out, because it's just so strong here. We are really tapping into the resources of our opponent. Like here we take the Patches play, because now we can tweak our deck by 1 card. And play the Death Lord out, which will allow us to go with a turn 5 Doom Guard or something better, right? So there we play Doom Guard since we know we have the discard mechanic. and we force out the fork 3/3 guy. All right, so there we go, more cards. And this one's going to turn out pretty easy. Like, as you can see right here, I'm just forcing myself to discard one card because I want to get to my quest as quick as possible. Because once I get the quest, that's 6/4 worth of stats on the board. That pretty much will end the game for me, right? So same thing here. I life tap, discard it, and I'm putting pressure, and that game's all but done. Like, really, there's nothing my opponent can do to answer a really well-statted board. So here we go, we challenge a mage. Now remember, Quest Mage is the reason why we made this deck. And in that matchup, we want to mulligan very aggressively for Patches and Gnome Feratu. Remember, Patches thins my deck by 1 card, making it 3% better of getting a Gnome Feratu, right? And here in this situation, it ends up not being Quest Mage. Nevertheless, Gnome Feratu, strong card. We're going to continue to play it. We make the trade there just because throwing it into the Mana Worm is the best use of its resource. Let's see here. Here, finally, our opponent decides that he's going to trade. Trades out. And this is good for us because now we're coming into the turn 3. We can play the Death Lord numerous plays, but we go for the Imp plus the Gnome Feratu for 2 reasons. One reason is we force him to burn a card, and the second reason is because if he doesn't deal with the Imp, we're gonna get to draw 2 cards off the Lakari Fellhound, right? Which is nice. Which is a perfect use of the mana. Here he plays this, and this game, it ends up a lot like the other games here. I've heard that there is a bug. If you play Gnome Feratu and your opponent goes down to 3 cards left in the deck, for some reason your opponent can't draw cards or something. I'm not really sure what people are talking about or what they mean when they talk about this bug. So I haven't confirmed it, but this is definitely a fun deck to try. To test out. There are definitely cards that you could change, like maybe the quest is actually not that strong. Changing it to something like Soulfire is okay, or maybe even adding Kazakus to the deck. To me, one of the most underperforming cards is Bran, so I could easily see Bran being changed to something like Kazakus. Yeah. And this game is actually going to run very long because our opponent's going to rope every turn. So I'm going to end the video here. But tell me what you thought about this deck in general and this format in general. These games were shot on my iPad and I'm recording it on my iPad. And I want to do this every week for the Tavern Brawl, just so to give you a fun option for a deck to play. The Tavern Brawl is actually very, very fun. And it's a nice little release from the classic standard and wild grind of the format. The decks are very fun. You get to make use of unplayed mechanics or even different kinds of things in general. And these Tavern Brawls have their own meta. Like, as you can see in this particular meta where it's the Quest Mage meta and how I'm countering it with Gnome Feratu. And it's a meta that matures very quickly. So it makes it very fun. What do you guys think about Tavern Brawls? Do you have a lot of fun playing the Tavern Brawl? Do you skip it completely? Let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.